Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. That's right. It's been like a decade. I know. We working on things. Things happen. But I promise you, we are really trying to come back regularly for you and do this once a week as often as we can for you. But we're back with at least a good topic. We had two of the greatest fights yesterday. One of the fights I think could be a fight of the year candidate. And the fight before that we're going to start off with were Breazeale and Anthony Joshua. That was a bomb burner as well. There was no lack of action in that fight. So we just want to start off with that. I'm Dennis Ragland. That's Frank Ness. Frank, you can go ahead and tell us what you think of that fight right there, man.
Joshua versus Breazeale. First of all, going in, I didn't think Breazeale was gonna last more than 2 or 3 rounds. So I just want to put that out there. He clearly wasn't in the same class as Joshua was, and everyone knew it going in. But that said, he impressed me in the fight. I mean, he lost pretty much every round, but he showed a lot of durability. He got hit with a lot of really big shots, and he wasn't phased by most of them. Now, mind you, he did get hurt pretty bad a few times and then ultimately got stopped, but he showed a lot of heart in that fight. But I mean, it was expected. You know, I don't think anyone really picked against Anthony Joshua in that fight. It was a solid title defense. So I don't have too much to say about it. What I will say is that Anthony Joshua, to me, is still unproven. I know a lot of people are very, very high on him. He has very good power. He has the physique of a Greek god. And he has a lot of really good hand speed. But the thing that I'm the least sold on is his footwork. It seems like someone like David Haye, who's very nimble on his feet, and Tyson Fury, those type of guys I feel would present a lot of problems to him because Breazeale isn't that good of a mover, but anytime he moved, it seemed like Anthony Joshua couldn't really catch him. And I feel like that's going to be a big issue going up against the big dogs because especially someone like Deontay Wilder, we saw in past fights that he's just not a come forward guy. He can pop you with the jab from the outside and get that straight right hand going. So I'm interested to see where Anthony Joshua goes from here, and hopefully he can continue to improve because when you have really good fighters from the UK and really good fighters from America in the same weight class like that, it's bound to be electric because those two crowds coming together is always a great thing. So to wrap up my thoughts, it didn't go exactly how I thought it would go because I thought Breazeale would be out of there quick. He showed a lot of durability, a lot of heart. Anthony Joshua did what he had to do. I'm interested to see where he goes next. Hopefully it's a David Haye fight. I think that would be awesome. But they're also talking about Joseph Parker, which wouldn't be a bad fight either. He's another young kid from the UK. So yeah, man, what did you think?
Well, I start off saying with echoing some of your sentiments and saying how I really respect Breazeale's heart. You know, he could have packed it in at any given time. Like, we've seen a lot of fighters do that. I don't want to talk down or throw Charles Martin under the bus. But the last fight, I felt like maybe he could have continued to go a little bit longer. I don't know. I wasn't in there with him. I don't know how hard he is. But I do know that Breazeale showed that I'll take your punch over and over and over. And I'll even take it to try to land one of my own. Like you said, it was just clear. It wasn't the same level. It was a potentially good boxer versus a potentially great boxer. Both of these guys have lots of potential, but one of them just on a different level than the other one. I really want to look and hopefully I see some more things from Breazeale later because honestly, I think if he you even said this, like if he get more skills, he was able to get hit with almost everything.
Yeah.
If he's able to get somebody to teach him some head movement, I don't know if he can ever become faster foot because he's such a big guy.
Mm-hmm.
But if he can just learn some head movement and maybe how to use his body and cutting off angles and using the shoulder or whatever he can to stop getting hit so much because his career won't last long if he continues to take a punishment like that. If he's able to get some type of different trainer to help him out with that, I think he can be a decent fighter. I don't know if he'll be a champion, but I know he can be a really good contender. You know, he can be a top 10 type of guy in the heavyweight division. So that's just me speaking on behalf of what he can do in the division for himself. But Anthony Joshua, he's a guy that I like what Wilder did. Wilder came right and was like, you know, let's not wait. You know what I mean? Let's make the date, right? And that is really smart because Anthony Joshua is a guy you want to get right now.
Yeah.
Because he's like he's like an Earl Spence. He has so much potential and so much electricity, and this guy, he has firepower. You know what I'm saying? He has heart. This is a guy you want to get him right now, because if he starts to get some of these fights later on and then gets more and more experience, it is going to be tough to beat this guy. It's going to be tough to beat a guy that is in great shape. Like you said, the guy's physique is awesome, and he starts to learn how to dig his way out of certain situations. He's seen every type of fighter. Because one thing I was kind of concerned about, I want to know what his gas tank was like. He's never been there. Can Joshua go 12 rounds?
Right.
But if you wait till the guy's out, he's been 12 rounds a few times. He's seen different type of fighters. You wait till he's got experience and he's even been down and he's know how to dig himself out of a hole. If you wait till he has all of this in his bag of tricks, it's going to be dang near impossible to beat a guy like that. You want to get Anthony Joshua right now. He's got a lot of potential, but he's still green. He still makes simple mistakes. And that's why I respect Wilder. If I was Wilder, I would try to fight him right now, beat him right now, and give him that first loss and have that doubt in his mind from here on out. But let's. That being said,
I was just gonna say. So let's, if we can touch on that for a minute. Let's say the fight gets made for December or January. Who would you favor?
I would definitely favor Wilder. Not because I weighed it yesterday, right? I say, naturally skilled, I think boxing-wise, I think Anthony Joshua probably has naturally more skill than Deontay Wilder. He's a little bit more polished, skilled-wise, you know what I mean? But I think Deontay Wilder, and this may sound, even though his physique, Anthony Joshua's physique is crazy, I think Deontay Wilder might be just a little bit more agile and a little bit more athletic. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I think he may be a little bit more athletic than him, like being faster afoot and being faster with the jab. I think he may be more athletic than him, but Joshua just may possess more skill.
Yeah.
So if you add that up, I believe that Wilder would be able to beat him to the punch. And if it's all about who gets hit first, because both of them guys get hit like a train.
Yeah.
If it's all about who gets there first, who gets hit first, you have to favor Wilder in a situation like that.
Yeah.
So I was looking at their strengths, but I've seen both of them be hurt before. I've seen Dylan White hurt Anthony. We've seen Wilder get hurt by Eric Molina. Was it the drummer boy? We both seen that they can be hurt. So like if you weigh it up, they both can be hurt. They both have tremendous power. So who can hurt who first? That's how you kind of weigh it up, right?
Right.
That's why I would have to favor Wilder. What you like? How would you assess that? Would you?
See, the thing, on the outside looking in, I would favor Wilder myself, just for a lot of the same reasons that he's more athletic. He fights better from the outside, and his arms are longer. He's more nimble on his feet. It seems like he has a little bit more going for him. He's a little bit more versatile. But with that being said, when you look at the strengths of Anthony Joshua, it's his power, his hand speed, and his amateur background that he's fought a lot of these guys, but not these literal guys, but these type of styles before. So he knows how to handle a lot. And the thing is, with the heavyweight division is just so much different than any other division, because all you have to be, not all you have to be, but a lot of times you see guys who are top 10 or top 5, and really all they are is just strong. They can crack. You know what I mean? They don't necessarily have to set up their punches very well, because you can see a punch coming from a 147-pounder and take it. But if you take a punch from a 250-pound man and you see it coming or not, that could put you to sleep at any given point. So just like to the point you made, is whoever lands first will probably win that fight, or whoever lands the big bomb first. And that's so hard to tell, because you could see Anthony Joshua with his boxing skill. He was timing Breazeale that whole fight. And in times past with Dylan White, with the dude he just knocked out before this. Why am I blanking on his name? Charles Martin. You can see him. You can see him thinking in the ring. You know what I mean? So he's very educated. He just doesn't go in throwing, and that's the same thing with Deontay Wilder, is that he doesn't just throw anymore. When he was a little younger and a little bit more raw, he did just kind of go in trying to get everybody out of there. But so with that said, what's going to win the fight is going to be up here. You know what I mean? I feel like the fight, it's going to be Deontay Wilder staying on the outside and Anthony Joshua continuously being the aggressor. Now, it's going to be up to Deontay Wilder's jab to dictate how often he lets Anthony Joshua get close to him, and which I would favor, and that's exactly why I would favor Deontay Wilder, because I feel like he can do that all 12 rounds. We've seen him do it against Thurman. You know what I mean? And we haven't seen anyone really frustrate Anthony.
That's a lot in that fight with Thurman.
Right, exactly. And we haven't seen anyone really frustrate Anthony Joshua, and that's a fight I can see him getting frustrated in. So I don't know how he's going to react to that. You get what I mean? And so I'm more so basing it off what we know about these fighters, not necessarily their potential, because I can only go off what I've seen from them. They're both great fighters. They both have a chance to be the man in the heavyweight division. But to this point, I would favor Deontay Wilder myself.
Yeah, okay, so we're moving right along. We're going to talk about one of the fights, or the best fights of this year. You know what? I got to say this by starting off like this. I think they really do. I'm not saying it'll happen immediately, but I think not only will they fight again, I think this could wind up being a trilogy.
Oh yeah.
And if these guys were top ranked with Uncle Bob, they will fight 5 times. You know what I mean?
In a row. They wouldn't even fight anybody else.
They would fight nobody else but each other for the next 4 times.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, I really think they're gonna fight at least one more time, because it was a great fight, and I every time I'll be ready to watch it. Well, just assessing it. You know what? I have the elephant in the room. I've been seeing it everywhere, on every form, even professional fighters like a Willie Monroe, not calling him out, but saying things that they think Porter won like 8-4, 7-5. Look, let me dig in it just a little bit. I won't go in, maybe. Okay, but this is how it is. I think a lot of people either confused what they were watching or just have biased opinions.
Yeah.
Because you cannot give a guy a fight just because he's launching in. I look at it like a bull versus the matador. When a bull comes, does the matador stand there and let him hit him with his horns, or does he go, ole, and move out the way? People are saying that Thurman ran because he did what he's supposed to do when somebody charges you. You know what I mean? You're not rams. You don't ram your horns against his. You make him miss, you make him pay.
Mm-hmm.
And because Porter was so good, sometimes he made Thurman pay. But Thurman was pretty good at being able to get out the way, and whenever he's on the ropes, he got hit. And you know what? We was even talking about how Porter, one of Porter's flaws is smothering his own activity and work.
Mm-hmm.
He did a lot of good body work on Thurman, even to the point where Thurman said he wasn't, but he felt his punch. He got hurt at one point in time to the body. And the thing is, if you don't allow enough room for the judges to see the activity of what you're doing, it hurts you. When we can clearly see Keith hitting you to the point where your knee buckles, or you stumble across, or you hit when sweat knocks in the 3rd row somewhere. We seen how clear Keith was executing his punches. It was clean and precise. Porter, he was rushing, he was wrestling, he was being tough. That's what he does. That's the type of fighter he is. He's a muggy fighter. Mm-hmm. I don't take anything away from him for that. But you can't say he won the fight just because that's what he did. That's what he does. And as the Brinker pointed up too, you have to do 2 things when somebody does that to you. You get out the way, or you hold. You do not stand on the train when you don't stand on the track when the train is coming. You know what I mean? That's stupid. Mm-hmm. You get out the way, or you hold. And everybody gave Kell Brooks so much criticism because he held and he held and he held, and then he would pop Porter and then hold him, and he would stop his momentum and then he would hit him.
Mm-hmm.
That was his technique. Thurman simply just used angles and got out the way, let him throw a shot, counter him, and then got back to work.
Mm-hmm.
That's called boxing, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Boxing. This is not fighting. This is not UFC ground and pound. You make a guy pay, and you try not to get hit in the same sentence. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't understand people's train of thought. So I think a lot of fighters that was saying, I'm not saying all of them, maybe some of them may have scored it their way, but I think a lot of fighters, these guys have personal relationships with each other. Let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They know each other. They cool with each other. So they're like, oh, I want the homie to win.
Mm-hmm.
That's my guy. And then when it doesn't work out that way, it's, oh, well, it didn't work out that way because of this.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be realistic here. At best, that fight was a draw.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Thurman did what Thurman was supposed to do. And he came in a fight saying, smart fighters win, dumb fighters lose. He came in a fight saying that. Like when Marcos Maidana charged Floyd up, right? He charged Floyd up the first fight when people just said all Floyd did was lay on the ropes. Or Marcos Maidana tee off on him, right? The second fight, what happened? He tried, Floyd wasn't there. He moved. That's what you do. If you don't want to just lay on the ropes and play the rope game all night, you move out the way. And that's not, like, I don't get what people call not being available to hit running.
Yeah.
No. I don't understand that, because you're not available to hit, you're running.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're being smart. Who wants to get hit? Nobody signs up to say, hey, I want you to hit me with your biggest bombs this fight. I'm going to take it and see if I can survive, and maybe I'll hit you with a few of mine. No, I want to make you miss everything possible and then hit you with what I got. You know, I'll go back and tell what I want to see next from both of these guys. But I got to say, Thurman clearly won that fight.
Mm-hmm.
It was right. The judges didn't make any bad decisions. And I got to touch on this before I give it to you, Frank. I had an argument with somebody this morning. Those fans were wrong. You don't boo a fight like that from beginning to end. They gave you their heart. That is the type of fight that can cut a fighter's career short. They were bombing each other, man. Both of them, they were bombing. They can cut your career short. Afterwards, Porter had to be taken to the hospital. Do people know? You know what I'm saying? And I get, because the guy that you thought was gonna win didn't win. I respect that. Everybody has an opinion, but you don't boo a guy like Thurman when he gave his heart out. He got hit with some big shots. He gave some big shots. Don't boo. You can feel how you want to feel, but don't disrespect those guys, because that's just disrespect in my eyes. How you feel?
See, I'll touch on that first, since you just brought it up. I agree with you. I understand that maybe some fans thought Porter won the fight in the building, right? Just like you said, I'm cool with that. It was a very close fight. That's fine. But when you boo, you're not just booing the decision. It comes off like you're booing the fight. When these two just fought their asses off. I mean, this was an incredible fight. This is the best fight of the year so far to me. So to boo that, I'm just not with that. But to move on, just like you said, very fair decision, the correct decision. I scored it 8-4, which some people saw as a wee bit wide for Thurman, but that's fine. 7-5 I was completely fine with. The most I could give Porter was 6 rounds. There's no way he won more than that. Keith, at the end of the day, this is what it came down to. There was 2 big things. Was one, distance. And Keith managed that distance more so than not. The rounds that Porter won, he was able to keep him on the ropes and do very good body work. And even then, he was still smothering himself. So all he was really doing was outworking Thurman, which is what Porter usually has to do to win. But throughout the duration of the fight, Thurman landed the cleaner shots. He landed, I don't know what the CompuBox numbers were, or whatever they use with CBS and Showtime, but he landed more shots that I saw. You know what I mean? And the thing, to go to your point, just like you said, there are 3 things that are 3 possible outcomes when someone is a swarmer, right? And Porter's a swarmer. he's either going to swarm you and get you and position you where he wants to, which is usually the ropes or a corner. That's option one. Option two is the fighter is going to clinch the swarmer, so he's not being swarmed and not being punched. Option three is he moves out of the way and resets to the middle of the ring. All those options are what's going to happen in any Porter fight. So a lot of these same dudes who complain that Kell Brook held Porter too much are the same ones that are complaining that Keith Thurman got out of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't have it both ways here now. There's two ways to avoid that, especially when you're not an inside fighter. I can't look, or off the top of my head, think of any fight in which Keith Thurman stayed on the inside for any duration of time. That's not what he does. That's not who he is. So you're not going to play into your opponent's strengths. That's just silly. You know what I mean? That's like LeBron settling for jump shots for a whole game.
Right.
That doesn't make sense. That's not what you do to win a fight. It's not what you do to win an event. That's not what happens. So with all that being said, I thought it was a hell of a fight, man. They both came with it. I think I counted like 3.5 jabs the whole fight, which was nice to see them use their boxing ability just a little bit every now and then. No, all kidding aside though, I mean, this fight set the bar for what needs to happen. Right now, going into the fight, I talked to a lot of people. A lot of my friends come and ask me because they know I'm a big boxing fan. Frank, what do you think about this fight? Who's gonna win? Yada yada yada. And I predicted Thurman to win. I did think he'd knock him out late. I was wrong about that. But my biggest thing was, because there were some people like, oh, I don't think the fight's gonna be that good. I think Thurman's way better, or I think Porter's way. Cool, and you have that right to have that opinion. I thought it was gonna be a great fight either way because this is the first domino to fall in the welterweight division. Right. For way too many years, we had dudes not trying to fight each other because they were waiting on that Manny phone call or that Floyd phone call to get that money. And I get it, it's a business, but they're not here anymore. Now we need to know who the cream of the crop is. We need to start fighting each other. And especially for the fight to be as good as this was, not only does it set the bar as to who these welterweights need to fight next, it sets the bar as to how they need to fight each other. You know what I mean? I don't want to see, because these two dudes, and to top it off, these dudes are friends. These dudes like each other. There wasn't much trash talk going into the fight. They didn't have any reason to hate each other, and they still came in trying to take each other's heads off. That, to me, sets the bar right there. I don't want, this is just a random example, but I don't want Shane Mosley versus Manny Pacquiao hugging after every round and slapping hands, and I don't want that. This is a blood sport at the end of the day, and as brutal as that sounds, I want, when Danny Garcia steps in there with Thurman or Porter, I want them to try and hurt each other. You know what I mean? I need them to get in there and try and prove I'm better than you. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what this fight signifies. Exactly.
The king spot is open, and you can't go in there half-assing if you want to be known as the best since Manny and Floyd seem to be gone.
Exactly. And that's the point. That's the exact point I'm making, is that this fight, and especially for it being on CBS, being on net, this was the perfect fight for that. Because I don't know when's the last time I saw these two fight and they didn't bring it. So two dudes who are bringing it, two of the best in the welterweight division, arguably both top 3, definitely both top 5, bringing it like that, that's incredible. Because now we're going to see, hopefully we can get Danny Garcia or Kell Brook to fight Keith Thurman, maybe at the end of this year, maybe in the beginning of next year. And that's going to continue to build that hype for this division, because that's what this needs. And once it's all said and done, we're going to get two dudes who are both up here and are ready for a pay-per-view fight. This is how you build pay-per-views. You don't build pay-per-views by fighting the ranked 15th guy, the best 140-pounder. No. These dudes need to start fighting each other. This is the shark pool. The sharks need to start eating each other. There's no more fish. You understand what I'm saying? That this is it. This is just them now. They need to eat. And this is the first domino to go. And as much, but before we get into what we want to see next, as much as I want to see a rematch between those two, I've never been a fan of immediate rematches. Because I feel like rematches themselves need to be built a little bit. This is a very close fight. 7-5 was extremely fair. There were some swing rounds, right? Okay, cool. Close fight. Great fight. But now I want to see Thurman fight. He's going to fight his mandatory. I don't know how to pronounce his name because they pronounced his name like 5 different times when he fought Shane Mosley, but he's a solid fighter. So he's probably going to fight him at the end of the year. Porter can go off and fight maybe a Sammy Vasquez if he gets the win, or just an up-and-coming guy to continue to make his stock known. They need 2 or 3 more fights in between them to build them to where they just were. You know what I mean? Not saying that either fighter lost stock, because they both performed valiantly, and I think both of their stocks raised. But the second go-round can be even bigger than this one was if they rack up some wins. And that's what I'm a fan of. I like rematches to be bigger than the first one, and an immediate rematch usually isn't. Especially in a fight like this, I don't think we're going to see anything different. Shawn only knows how to fight one way, and that's what took him this far. So you can't blame him for that. Keith Thurman is the more versatile fighter, so I feel like he will always, not always, 9 times out of 10, maybe 8 out of 10. I think I'm being too harsh here. 8 times out of 10, he's going to find a way to beat Shawn Porter because he's more versatile, right? So we can hop into what I want next. I want him to fight Danny right away, or Kell Brook, but he has his mandatory for the WBA. I'm cool with that. And then as far as Shawn Porter, there's plenty of fights. I mean, he even has the option of going up to 154. We were discussing that earlier offline. And there's plenty of options there. So it depends on whether he wants to stay at 47 or go up. But he has a lot of options because there's a lot of good young blood in these divisions. But as far as Keith Thurman, he has to be looked at as either the number 1 or the number 2 welterweight in the world behind Kell Brook. There's no other way to slice it. Those are the top 2 at this given moment. You know what I mean? And they got to start fighting each other, man. That was the first domino. So what do you think's next for the both of them?
Well, I start off with Porter. For Porter, I want to see him either fight maybe a Saddam Ali. Saddam Ali, he lost his last fight to Jesse Vargas. It was a championship fight. Porter lost his last fight, championship fight each other.
Yeah.
I mean, I like things as simple as that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
They don't need to start off from the drum. Neither one need to start off from the drawing board at this point.
Yeah.
They are who they are. They're going to be who they're going to be. And they both will probably be a champion again if they can get it right. Fight each other, claim superiority, and then from there start building your way back to getting somebody's belt. So I like that fight. You know what I mean? You got Saddam Ali, who's a boxer. He has a little bit of a chin issue. Let's see if he can get his chin squared away and come back against a rougher guy like Porter. Porter, go right back in there against a boxer. Saddam Ali, let's see if he has enough. If he's fixed the things he needs to fix, you guys go at each other. For Thurman, it's what you said. I mean, I either want to see him with Danny Garcia, number 1. That's number 1 fight I want to see him with. Or I want to see him get Kell Brook versus Jesse Vargas winner. Them the only 2 fights that really make sense. You know what I mean? It doesn't make like it's a lot of other fights out there, but it doesn't make sense for Thurman versus Tim Bradley. It doesn't make sense for Thurman versus Amir Khan. Not yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Those fights will come because they like to say those guys should be fighting each other right now. You know what I mean? Like we should be getting maybe Amir Khan versus I forget his name. I just said his name. Amir Khan versus
Tim Bradley.
Tim Bradley. You know what I'm saying? That's the fights we should be getting. So they can say, hey, okay, I won this big fight. Now it's my title shot. You see what I'm saying? Those are the fights we should be getting. We should be getting, you know what I'm saying, maybe a Earl Spence versus a Robert Guerrero. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We should those top name guys should be fighting each other to try to get to the top, to the belt. And the guys that got the belt, that's out of 1, 2, and 3 guys, they should be fighting each other to cancel each other out to be number 1. It's just it's a simple pyramid. You know what I'm saying? Pyramid scheme to me. It's okay. I'm here. We cancel each other out to see who's the top. The guys that are here, you fight each other to see who can get to there. I mean, it's simple to me. Yeah. I don't have a whole lot to say. That's how I view it.
I agree. And to the bigger point of what you said, when I was younger, I wanted to see just good fighters fight good fighters, right? Like, oh, that's awesome. He's going to fight him. That's great. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that I don't like fights that are meaningless almost, other than the fight itself. I like fights when they mean something. So Keith Thurman versus Amir Khan is a brilliant fight. That's a great style clash. I'd love to see. But at this point, it doesn't mean anything.
It don't mean anything.
You get right, exactly. I mean, Amir Khan just came off the Canelo loss, and he didn't look too spectacular against Chris Algieri. So his stock isn't that high. I like seeing fighters when their stocks are very similar and they both have a lot to gain. In that fight, Keith Thurman doesn't have nothing to gain, and Amir Khan has everything to gain. I'm not a fan of those type of fights. You know what I mean? So, right, and we're to the point where there are guys in the welterweight division that have a very similar stock to Keith Thurman. Cough, cough, Kell Brook. You know what I mean? So these are the fights that need to be made, or even Danny Garcia. So I agree with you. There's not much to be said. The dominoes are falling, and we know what we want, and we have all the means to get that done. You know what I mean? These promoters, even if they're not already Al Heyman fighters, these promoters have worked with Al Heyman in the past. So there's
exactly. They all work with each other at some point. I mean, there's no excuse at this matter. You know what I mean? I really feel like if the biggest obstacle with Floyd and Manny Pacquiao, like you can make these simple fights.
Yeah.
You can make, you know what I'm saying, a Tim Bradley versus Amir Khan. You can make that. These guys supposed to have fought for a long time ago anyway at 140. You know
I know.
They're past due with this fight.
Yeah.
Already give us, you know, Tim Bradley versus Amir Khan. Give it to us. There's no reason why you can't make Earl Spence versus Robert Guerrero. There's no reason why those fights can't happen.
Yeah. Well, you know, so, and speaking of, though, if you even think about it, Amir Khan versus Tim Bradley makes just as much sense now as it did then. Because when you look back then, when they were both at 140, that was for who was the best 140-pounder, right? That had a lot of meaning to it. Now, for them fighting now is a different reason, but they both are coming off losses. So now it's become a crossroads fight, but nonetheless still very meaningful, because the winner of that now all of a sudden is shot right back into contendership. They're right back in there, because if Tim Bradley wins that fight, all of a sudden, because to me he's probably number 4 if I'm ranking my welterweights. He wins that fight, he might remain number 4, but now I want him in against Keith Thurman. Now I want him in against
whoever had. I want to see him against Thurman or against, you know what I'm saying?
Against the Kell Brook. Right, exactly.
I want to see him against those guys now. They got to fight each other to cancel each other out.
Exactly. And you know what? At the end of the day, that's what's happening right now. That's exactly what's happening right now, is that they're starting to cancel each other, starting to fight each other, and starting to see who's the best. And I'm excited for it, man. There's so many good fights to be made at 147 that, well, we're going to know who's the best in the next probably year and a half, 2 years. There's no way we're going to have a Floyd and Manny situation where, oh, you know, I think Floyd's better. Well, I think Manny's better. We're going to know. We're going to find out very, very soon, and I'm really, really excited about it.
I'm going to add this last point. If any one of these guys, and now this is how Floyd thinks, if any one of these guys really, really want a Floyd fight, all you got to do is prove superiority, and Floyd will come to you. I guarantee you, Floyd likes the guy with the buzz on his name.
Oh, yeah.
If Thurman goes, he already beat Porter, and he goes and he beats the winner of Kell Brook Vargas, and he has a WBA and the IBF and the WBO, because he will get both of those belts, all 3 of those belts, because they're fighting for the unification. I guarantee you, Thurman will not have to call out Floyd. Floyd will be calling him saying, let's go.
Yep.
That's what you do. If you want that fight, go take it.
Exactly. And we've been saying that for years. That's the way you land Manny. That's the way you land Floyd, is by staking your claim. This is mine. Now what's up? You know what I mean? That's the only way to do it. The only way to do it. But I think we said just about everything. There wasn't necessarily much to say, because I think everything was pretty straightforward yesterday. But nonetheless, that's what we had to say, guys. Thank you for watching. Remember to like. Remember to subscribe. Remember to share. I mean, you know, boxing friends, if you're a boxing fan, let them see this video so that they can show their friends and they can show their friends. We're going to be back at it midweek with the topic to be determined. The next fight that we'll probably be discussing is the Kovalev fight, which happens to land on a Monday, which is kind of weird, but we'll make that work. So guys, thank you for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Have a good one.